In this video, I want to guide you through an example where we determine the composition of a square root function with a rational function, a fraction, and then find the domain of that function. So you can see the problem. I've got it typed up here for you. So please pause the video and copy down the original instructions. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is to determine the f of g of x function, and then we'll work on the domain. So f of g of x, the first thing I want you to do is rewrite that as its definition, f of g of x is a hint there. And then, in the next step, I want you to do f of, and then replace the g of x portion with its actual output formula, whatever that happens to be. Once you have that, your next step is going to be taking whatever this new formula input is and plug that into your f function, whose formula is up here. So whenever you plug an input into the f function, it goes in place of x, which is there. So your next step should look like 2 over something minus 1, whatever that input is. Now you're not going to be able to simplify this, so that's your final answer there, okay? Whatever that happens to be. So if you need to pause the video and work through all of that, do that at this time. Next, we have to find the domain. Now, when we find the domain of some combination, here we're dealing with composition, we always want to go back and find the unsimplified version so that we don't miss any restrictions. Well, this one did not simplify at all, so you're going to look at this guy to find your domain restrictions. Now we're going to have two domain restrictions. When you write your function out, you should have a square root. So make sure that the x values you choose on your number line don't make the numbers under the square root negative. So you're going to cut your number line and you're going to decide which numbers do and don't work for your square root. But then you've also got a denominator. This whole thing is a denominator. You don't want that to be 0. So what you're going to need to do is take that denominator, this guy, set it equal to 0 and solve for x. So pause the video and solve that equation for x. Once you've got that, you're going to cut your number line again at that x value, and then you're going to have to decide, so you're going to have two cuts in your number line basically. Look at these, remember these are all x values. Look at the two x values you have here in particular and either shade them or put open circles on them depending on if you get a real number output when you plug them into your function. And then look at a number from each of the three regions you've got and plug those into your function and see which regions will give you real number outputs. So shade those regions and then convert that to interval notation. So again, pause the video and work out your domain in interval notation. Then come back and check your answers. And your answer should be what I've got here in red. So double check, go back through your work if your answers don't match, and see if you can figure out where you may have made any mistakes. Good luck.